The fields open up like a parting sea, waves of yellow and green crashing on each other as you pedal past seemingly endless rolls. Minds start to wander as the miles trudge on. With skies so blue and open, the image starts to morph into a painting as the first wave of fatigue creeps in.
I met a couple guys a couple of months ago. They told me about RAGBRAI. That night I had a ticket from some guy in Denver, and we still didn't really have a way here. So about a week before we were supposed to leave, we had a group text, and Lance, one of the guys I'm here with, had purchased a car out of Newark, Ohio, about an hour south from where we're from. It was a spray painted red, yellow, blue Chevy Suburban 1998, not in great shape, but we got it here 13 hours away.
97 Chevy Suburban, he's a newbie.
We sold it to some high school kids when we got here for $100. Apparently the sheriff was looking for us. He thought it was stolen, it was weird, it was not. Yeah, so now we're just here on our bikes trying to get across Iowa.
So this is my first RAGBRAI ever. I'm from New Jersey. I watched a single video on it, and I could somehow convince my boyfriend to come with me on this adventure in Iowa. And I've never been here before. Never rode a tandem. Here we are.
I first heard about RAGBRAI online, YouTube videos. I went on a bike ride in Idaho, and it was great. And I decided I want to bike all the states, because why not? Everything I looked up pointed to Iowa, and this weird word, RAGBRAI, fell into a tunnel of YouTube videos and posts, and it looked great. And it was a 7-day bike riding / music fair festival, and I thought it was for me.
Being from Iowa, you hear about RAGBRAI, but it's one of those things you're like, oh, I'll just join it sometime, you know. During the pandemic, got a bike like probably most of the country did, and I figured why not make this a great trip across to Iowa.
I love to laugh and say that I was born and raised on RAGBRAI. My dad started me off on RAGBRAI when I was 9 years old, and I've only missed 1 year since. Every time I come back, it's far and beyond the community. It's the people that we meet along the way. It's the small towns that come out and support the riders.
So I initially heard about RAGBRAI through a podcast, The Dirtbag Diaries, and this guy had rollerbladed across Iowa doing RAGBRAI. It's such a cool story of stopping and people like helping him, and there are pools along the way. It was just like, what the hell is this thing where everybody rides across Iowa? How have I never heard of something that there's like 20,000 people all doing this together? It's like, I think I'm gonna do this.
RAGBRAI stands for the Register's Annual Great Bike Ride Across Iowa. We are the oldest, longest, largest bicycle touring event in the world. And it was started by 2 Des Moines Register columnists in the early 70s and said, let's ride our bikes across Iowa. But people joined them along the way, and they had so much fun doing it that they decided to do it again the next year. They used to limit it to 10,000 riders in the support vehicles, but we have a new director this year, and he opened it wide up, like 20,000 riders, because the people that just want to ride for a day and have a really easy ride are going from Charles City to West Union to wherever we stop tomorrow night. I don't know, because I just look at it a day at a time. Plus the support vehicles number half of the riders. So if you add that in, when we used to have 10,000, it was 5,000 support vehicles. I was in graduate school in Iowa City and read this column called Over the Coffee by Donald Call, because he was snide and sarcastic and right on the money in terms of what was going on in the world in those days. So, and if I weren't in class, I would have gone on the first one, but I had to be in class. So this is my 33rd RAGBRAI.
Well before the sun even begins to rise, there is a rustling in the campsites. The first day energy is palpable. From newbies to veterans, there is a strong urge to get the first miles in. As dew collects on the grass blades and tent walls, people start to pack up. The energy rises. Some riders have support vehicles and renovated buses to help them along the way. Others load their gear into a truck to be transported to the next town, while a brave group tough it out and carry all of their belongings on their bike. Pack it in, pack it out. Either way, that first day and those first few pedals into the sunrise are magical.
I'm not a morning person, so I'm always just kind of like, man, we got to get up and we got to like start riding. Literally a mile into it, I remember like why we're here. It's just riding.
We absolutely have sore muscles and aches and pains every morning, and we don't sleep very well, even if we're in AC. That's just RAGBRAI for you.
First couple of days, they're always kind of like, bikes, everything, food, where's my stuff, where's my tent? I brought too much stuff, I don't have enough stuff. Now it's like, cool, let's get on the road again.
Hit the road early, and just in the morning is the perfect time to ride. The sun is like beaming down below the clouds, and today it was just beautiful.
We're in Britt, Iowa, the hobo capital of the world. And today we're the meeting town for RAGBRAI, letting people know what's going on in town, greeting the riders, and just seeing some life come into a small town that could always use a little influx of tourism. You know, when I was just a very little kid, when I lived in southeastern Iowa, I believe 84, 85, they came right by my house. Just kind of got introduced to it that way, and then years later I did live music, so I was involved with a lot of bands in RAGBRAI. We've met people from so many states and so many different personalities, and just people coming together. You know, this is a fun thing and just a mixing of a lot of people. Since late 1800s, the hobo convention was in Chicago, Illinois, and folks from Britt, farmers, came and convinced them to move the convention here to Britt so they could get some farm labor for harvest, and it stuck. So we have a claim to fame and a connection with Chicago, Illinois, which is pretty cool.
We are in West Bend, Iowa at the Shrine of the Grotto of the Redemption. I had an aunt who rode RAGBRAI for the first 25 years until she passed away, and it opens up Iowa to be seen by people from all over. Today is a microcosm of what the grotto is all about, because we get people from all 50 states. This year alone, we've seen people from 17 different countries. We're an incredibly diverse and we're an incredibly open opportunity for people to come see either the glory of God, architecture, or geology. The shrine was started in 1912 by Father Paul Doberstein, who was a priest who'd come here from the south of Germany. There were too many priests in Germany at the time, so he came to America, was accepted in the seminary, studied at the seminary at St. Francis. While he was in Milwaukee, got sick, prayed to the Blessed Virgin to ask her son for healing. He was healed and said he would build a shrine in honor of that. Started collecting rocks and stockpiling rocks, and in 1912 started the building process. You know, and then it became a labor of love. He just never stopped. He died in July of 1954, and he died while he was working on the grotto. The reason that he chose to do it in this particular kind of mode, this mode reminded him of his childhood in southern Germany, where there are a plethora of natural grottos. So a grotto is literally just a niche or a small cave into the side of a mountain or a hillside. And so that's what these actually become.
As you come into each town, the food is what's on most people's minds. After biking for hours, refueling is top priority. Food is a bragging point for locals. Who has the best pulled pork? Whose grandma makes the best cherry pie for her church's fundraiser? There are so many must-tries as everything is lined up calling your name. For one magical day, these tiny towns in the heartland of America are transformed into the hustle and bustle of a metropolitan bazaar. Corn and pork are classic choices at each stop, but there has been an upsurgence of cultural foods as well. Asian, Mexican, Southern, and even Afro-Caribbean are now available.
So we're in Lawler, Iowa. To be honest with you, this is my first time being here, and we're doing RAGBRAI, man. I'm from Liberia, man. I'm a biker, but not thousands of miles, 7 days. You know, I don't know about that, but maybe I do like 2 days, you know.
He's gonna ride because that's what you do.
That's what you do. I'm gonna ride. I'm not riding with a chicken costume.
Right.
Yes, sir. My favorite part, just talking to the riders, seeing where they're from, hearing their stories, man. and just hearing a review from there about our food. Because a lot of these, there's a lot of people from different countries, from all parts of the U.S. You know, if you think Iowa, you don't really think Caribbean, West African cuisine. To bring that here, and then a lot of riders are surprised to see that. We provide a fusion between Caribbean and West African food. So we have rice, we have jerk chicken wings, we have plantains on a stick, and we have a drink that we came up with as a family. It's called Summer Punch. Man, to me, that's my outlet, man. You know what I'm saying? That's where I get away. I'm in my zone. I've been doing it for so long. That's just my piece right there. So when I'm cooked, I'm chill, I'm having a good time, and just to smell the aroma of mixture of different ingredients just to create a dish that people will go, wow, man, it's one of my favorite things.
I've always said that RAGBRAI is whatever you make it. And if you want to come here and you want to make it a training ride and ride hard and enjoy the open roads, do that. And if you want to bring your family and your small kiddos on the ride and do a family week-long event, then do that. But I always think that riding hard and stopping and making friends and chatting with the locals and embracing this culture around pro bikes and getting bodies on bikes is the best thing about RAGBRAI. And if you're not stopping and enjoying the towns and the church dinners and the pies and ice cream, then you're missing out on a key part of RAGBRAI.
Seeing the communities all getting involved, if the local wrestling team is selling waters and other tourist areas, they would be like, no, get these people out of here. I know there's gonna be food, I know there's gonna be stuff there for me. And it's like kind of a more relaxing style of pace in doing this. If I haven't tried it, I know it's going to be somewhere else.
The places that you see on a bike that you normally wouldn't see in a car. Small towns that you would probably bypass, experience the culture from a whole new atmospheres, you know, downtown set-ins late at night, the crowds are out, the restaurants.
I ride for the food a lot of the time, so I try and imagine like, okay, so there's gonna be that delicious whatever it is, just over the next hill, just around the next curve.
The food's been really good, lots of good chicken and a lot of corn in everything.
Food isn't just for enjoyment. It's a major part of Iowa's economy. Iowa is the second largest exporter of corn in the world. Corn and soy farming in Iowa is passed down generation to generation, with millions of acres of fields meticulously manicured and harvested every year. It's a sight to behold. The calmness of rows of corn as you bike past brings a powerful reflective opportunity. Good versus evil. The classic tale of heroes and villains meeting on Main Street at sunset. The underdog versus the bad guys. In Iowa, wrestling represents the modern theatrical stage, the anticipation of the crowd growing, waiting to see their favorite stars play out a fantasy adventure in front of them. Wonderment in the eyes of the youth and adults alike. The drama unfolds as the stunts elevate, the jumps get higher, the chokeholds get longer, a steady cast of characters coming throughout the night. Each match holding amazing promise with the hero always coming out on top. But then there's always the next time.
The emotions today are really bittersweet. They're all over the place. It hasn't really hit yet. Right now it's the get up and go. I do not want this to end. I want this to roll on forever. And it's kind of an addict mentality. You want a beautiful thing that lasts forever. Yeah, it's called an addict. So scenic, so picturesque. And then the people just passing you by. Yeah, I'm gonna miss it, but it happens once a year for a reason. That's the magic of it. It's just for the moment. Sometimes I'll be stopped at a red light at home and I'll think about it and it's gonna be cool and it's gonna make me smile.
As thousands of riders approach the mighty Mississippi River, emotions are in the air. A bittersweet time of reflection mixed with the physical ailments that come with living on a bike and sleeping in a field for a week. The collection of bikers coming to congregate for one final ceremonial event, the dipping of their front tire into the Mississippi. capturing the moment with a photo to share with friends, family, and anyone else who will listen about this crazy adventure we call RAGBRAI. The ceremony goes on for hours as the early risers pack up and head home back to their real-life tasks, while the hungover stranglers wander in at their own speed as the sun heads toward the middle of the sky. There are also those merely a pit stop on their ride across America. You truly have to come and explore it on your own to understand. It's not just for the avid long-distance riders, any bike enthusiasts of any level to have fun and to feel like they are a part of something special. The food, music, history, Iowa nice. All what makes this not just the world's largest annual bike ride, but to a lot of people, the world's greatest bike ride, and an opportunity they'll never forget.